Emerging Toronto artist QUIETLOVE, or Brendan DiStefano, is ready to take over the indie pop world. He is a singer, songwriter, and producer. His passion, talent, and uniqueness really make him stand out. His mashes of intricate and also modern elements into his music create really great songs, and with his most recent releases, The Dream and No Feelings, he has really let his listeners want more. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Allie.
Absolutely.
You killed my name, by the way, too.
Just exposed. Oh, in a good way or a bad way?
No, in a good way. I should have
okay.
picked a better adjective.
That's okay, because I did actually kill it the first time, and that was not the first take.
Well, yeah, for the viewers, she only did one other take, so only 2-take Allie.
Actually, it was like seven takes.
Right.
That is actually the first time I've had to redo one. I normally stumble a little bit and I just push through it, but I was like, fuck, no, we really just had this conversation about how to properly pronounce your name.
You know what? It's my name, so I'm sure not a lot of people have 2 hard names. Usually it's just one, you know?
That's true. Just to kind of get us started, what was the first thing you listened to today?
It's pretty early. So I haven't listened to anything, but the last thing I listened to last night was Ironic by Alanis Morissette, randomly
Interesting.
enough. I was in a 90s kick last night.
That's fair.
I mean, that's so 90s.
I was going to say, if you think of 90s, that's the first person you think of, and then the first song.
Yeah. That album did amazing things for her.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember. She was doing a tour either right before COVID hit, right? There was like a plan for it. She was going to do a tour.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope she has rescheduled, because that would be rad.
Honestly, there's been so many where I'm just like, fingers crossed they get rescheduled. I'm like, my hopes are just going to get crushed.
Yeah.
It's okay.
How's it been in the DC area? Like, have you been seeing shows actually popping up now, or is it still kind of in a weird phase?
It's interesting because there's definitely shows happening. Actually, there's one I might go to next week that I'm like very still like not. I'm trying to decide my comfort level. Right. But there are like smaller shows happening. There hasn't been anything too big. I think the first week of August is where it really picks up. I know if you know who the Backseat Lovers are, they are coming here the first week of August. And that's the first one like of, you know, I guess like, I don't know, like of naming that I can say that like I know is coming, but I don't know, it's weird. I've been like personally, like my personal choices, I've been very safe with COVID, and like I've stayed home a lot, and like I think I talked to like 3 people in person other than people I work with like that whole year. But how is it in Canada? I know that they just announced the opening of like our borders, so
it's been a little bit slower here, especially like we're just kind of opening up in Toronto here. But yeah, I'm seeing a little bit for like September, fall for sure. Like it's slowly starting to open up. But yeah, I think there's like an apprehension here even still too. Like, you know, some of the venues are like, yeah, okay, we'd love to open up, but are you going to close us down again? Because if so, like, why would we get all of our staff together? Why would we, you know, they restock everything, like it's a big deal. So it's but slowly but surely we're opening up. I can't wait to get out there.
I know, and that's the thing, is like I'm like dying to go, but then I'm also like, oh, do I want to go? Same. I know that in like Texas and like all of these other like west, like Midwest is like fucking full capacity like shows
for months,
and I'm like
now.
Yeah, how do I feel?
Well, it's like you said,
please.
Like we haven't talked to more than one person in one room, so we're just gonna get 250, you know, strangers in the same room. Like it's a big step, but I think maybe if you go to patios first, and then you go to dinners, maybe that might like work it in. Who knows?
For sure.
You're totally correct for having that apprehension, though, for sure. I do
Yeah,
too.
I mean it's interesting because like I went to Florida, Florida's
That's
Florida.
another one. Yeah. They
Yeah.
don't
Um
give a shit there for sure. But
no, I like
to each his own.
was like it was before like the Delta variant has like, gotten whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I was like this is the Wild West out here. Like
Yeah,
nobody
totally.
gives two shits.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
anyway,
return to
now
normal
that
too.
yeah. Now that things are opening up, how like let me rephrase that. You're in Toronto, which you mentioned earlier. How has it
Yeah.
been for you this last year with releasing music? I know you are in another project, but as a solo project, how has that release been for you?
It's been great. It's been surprising, like the response, to be honest. I didn't know. I just kind of went into it with open arms type thing. And like I kind of started it at the beginning of this whole pandemic, and um just kind of as a way to, like, an outlet, the
Sure.
band and I weren't getting together as much, and you know I still had projects from the past, like pre-pandemic, that didn't necessarily fit for what we were working on. So I just decided, I don't know, now would be a good time to just get it out there because everyone's at home, everyone's gonna listen to music, and since then it's just kind of taken off a little bit. It's definitely surprising for me though. I just didn't know, you know, how many people would be interested, or how would go. It was a little different from what I was used to, so um, super stoked though on how it's
Yeah,
turned out.
absolutely. And I really dig it. And
Thanks.
I feel like the chunk of episodes I've done, there's always somebody like from Toronto or like with roots in Toronto. So can you
Yeah.
talk about a little bit like your experience in the music scene? I know that right now it's kind of like hustling and bustling, which is great, and not a music scene I ever expected to kind of see emerge in the last couple years. So I'd love to hear your experience with it.
It's it's crazy right now, to be honest, like especially after the pandemic. I know like everybody's trying to do something, like trying to get shows specifically. In the
Hmm.
artist world, like shows are going to be tough to get. They were tough to get before, but now I think they're going to be even more because everyone's trying to book shows, everyone's trying to get back to it, so it's a little bit more competitive almost in a way right now. um but I mean, the music industry is always changing. I've found, even like the 10 years that I've been in, like when I started, you know giving out your iTunes link was like normal. Now
Yeah.
it's like streaming, and a lot of that's changed as far as like, now we have Bandcamp and those sort of things. And people are still selling music, obviously, but it's just different now.
Hmm.
I think we all have to adapt to it.
And
I hope
what
that
did you
answers your
kind of
question.
yeah. Um, what did you kind of grow up listening to, and like how did that emerge into what you do now?
I grew up like in the pop punk world, much like you. I think we like a lot of the same sort of bands. Your area, actually, like Baltimore, DC area, is very, um, like, there's tons of bands that come from that area, which is funny enough that you mentioned Toronto. Your area
Yeah.
is pretty bustling. Like, I think, All Time Low, Panic at the Disco, The Dangerous Summer, tons of bands. Conditions. Do you remember Conditions?
I do. Oh my
No?
god. Wait, it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
funny you said that. I saw them. I That was my first like show I saw live, and Versa Emerged
Oh,
opened up
sick.
for them. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Where was that?
Yeah. I'm
Was
sorry.
that Where was that, in DC, or?
It was in Baltimore. It was at Record Theater.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was a shit show.
That's rad. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a cool little,
Uh
I don't know, a little industry in that area for pop punk specifically.
Yeah, it's a really interesting place to be because DC has like a very different scene than Baltimore does. DC
Right.
has a lot of like more so, I guess you would say like hardcore punk. I'm so bad with genres.
There's
And
so
then
many.
like
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like go-go, and then Baltimore is more so the punk, and there's like a lot of rappers.
Right.
So it's like a very interesting place to be, and I moved away for college, and I got a little bit involved in the scene down there in the Tampa, Orlando
Oh,
area.
cool. Nice.
But it was very more so like indie pop, indie
Right.
rock. So when I came back, now COVID hit, and I haven't had a chance to really like involve myself as much as I have.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you were into like pop punk, pop rock. What was your like go-tos like growing up?
Bands like Cartel. I really like The Academy Is. The Maine. The Maine was a big one.
I'm literally wearing the main shirt. Big fan.
Are you? Nice. Have you?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've seen them.
Very many
a few times. That was
Yeah,
actually one of
yeah.
the last shows I went to here.
Really?
They usually head up Toronto and Vancouver when they're in Canada, which is dope.
Yeah.
And I've really liked them actually, just because of the way they've been able to stay current without, a major label, without anything really. They create everything themselves, and I've always gravitated towards that kind of those kind of bands and those kind of artists, because I see that in myself a lot too. Even producing, I think they produce a lot of their own stuff alongside other people. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely the Maine. Dangerous Summer,
Mm-hmm.
that was a big one for me too.
Can't go wrong.
And it,
Can't go wrong.
and it slowly kind of transitioned into pop, and then into hip hop, and you kind of grow out of it, but you're always a pop punk kid at heart.
100%. And like
Yeah.
I always say that there's like there's like a pop punk to like alt pop punk pipeline, and
Right.
like every kid has gotten like that pipeline, and that's where they are now. They're
Right.
So it's interesting that
And I've
you're
had
very
these
similar in that way.
conversations. I've had these conversations before too, and just been like, the Maine, or like Cartel, or it's even some of the unknown ones like Academy Is, and
Yeah.
smaller bands. I don't know. When you find that person that knows them, it's like, oh, I like you, so
Yeah, I
yeah, it's
actually,
funny.
when I was in college, I worked at like the student union, so like it was always a very interesting mishmash of people. So I got put into an office
Right.
with this girl, and she was kind of like I mean this in the best way. She was like an Instagram gal, and like everything
Right.
had like very aesthetically pleasing, and like she was a sweetheart. I adore her. And there was one day she was like, "Allie, we need to talk about something," and I was like, what are we talking about? And
Yeah.
she had told me how big of a fan she was of the Maine, and she saw like one of my stories where I'd shared one of their songs.
What?
And she pulls out all these like scene like pictures of herself, and she's like,
Right.
"Oh, so we're going." And like we had bought tickets together when they were coming for
Aw.
the Flowers on the Grave tour. Yeah, so
Right.
it's so funny, and it's like everybody.
sweet. Yeah, especially the Maine. They've
Yeah.
definitely got bigger over the years. I remember there was a point where you'd say the Maine and no one really knew.
Mm-hmm.
It was like more of a niche
Yeah.
8123 type family, but now it's definitely, they've gotten bigger. I can't wait to see them again.
For sure. Especially after this new album.
Yeah. How are your thoughts? New album.
Oh, I
Digging
really loved You Are Okay a lot. It's like
too.
my all-time favorite album of theirs. And I like this one a lot, but I don't think it's my favorite. Like I really love it, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes time too, which is funny.
Yeah.
Like I've
Yeah, and,
felt that way about albums, and then like 6 months later, you kind of go, oh,
Right.
like I don't know.
I
I'm
actually
giving
really
it a
did like
chance.
it.
I dig it, but same feeling for me.
Yeah, the last like half
Production
of it I
is
really
great though.
liked. Oh,
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
yeah, yeah. There was one album, I can't remember which one it was. Maybe Forever Halloween, where the
Mm.
production, they kind of went for like a more raw feel, and
Mhm.
I wasn't like, I don't know. I'm really a pop guy, so
Yeah.
like, I don't know. The last few albums I've been loving for sure.
Yeah, and then for Forever Halloween at least, like, and then I heard I think Ice Cave live, and I was like, I need to go re-listen to this entire
Right.
album.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it's so good. But let's talk about you and your great
Oh
tracks you
yeah, me.
have.
Yeah.
Even though I could sit here and talk all day about the Maine.
Me too. Me
Um,
too. Me too.
And so I kind of want to hear your specific kind of experience because I've had a couple other people on the show who have done went from band to solo projects. So I'm curious of how your experience was. Was it difficult for you to like do that creative change of bouncing off other people to doing it all yourself?
Um, no, just because like I had been doing that for a while before. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just to give you a little backstory, like in middle school or like yeah, around there, like I got my first guitar and that kind of spiraled into recording on my own and layering things, and that's how I kind of learned how to write. Um, so it was like very instinctive for me just to do things on my own. But yeah, it was definitely a weird transition to having the guys in the band kind of we would all bounce off each other, obviously, right? So it would
Mm-hmm.
be like, what do you think of this idea, or what do you think of that? And it kind of came all down to me. So it was really like, is this good? Yeah, like is it like you almost have to like self-correct yourself, and it's a weird,
Mm-hmm.
ego maniac sort of thing, but it's very like weird to be like, okay, like I think this is good, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then just kind of putting it out into the world, especially being the producer, writer, and your everything type thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
had someone mixing it, so that kind of really helped just reassure myself, I guess. So there's still like people, you know, working on it that aren't
Mm-hmm.
that isn't just me, but yeah, definitely that was a weird thing to get over, and still getting over that. Yeah, just being like, is this okay? Is it good? Especially hearing it so many times, you never know. It's
Yeah.
weird.
But it's so awesome, and I think it's like a really great like accomplishment to be able to say that you've done all of the singing, songwriting, producing by yourself, and then having those extra eyes on it to like just fine tune it, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
For your track No Feelings, you said, I wrote this song about perpetual inner struggle between the head and the heart. Can you talk about the writing process for that song, and go a little bit to the thought process as well?
It was like super it was one of those songs that's really quick, like in the writing process at least. Like
Mm-hmm.
the words kind of just came to me, and like the whole idea of like I think someone said like the duality of it, like where it's like you have a relationship that's a new relationship, and it's like you're kind of both on ice. I'm sure we
Mm-hmm.
can all relate. You kind of like, I don't know, you're skeptical, like I don't want to be the one that's more into you than you are to me, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
weird dance. So I wanted to write about that, and it came out really quickly. Some songs are like days, like you'll write like a verse and maybe a chorus, and then like come back to it. But this was kind of all in one chunk. Um, and it was very natural, and usually that's a good sign for me, at least. um it's like,
For
oh, I didn't
sure.
have to try as hard. um yeah, so that's kind of what that's
And
about.
for the video, I need to know how many takes it was for that
Oh,
very long bike ride.
it was I think it was 3 or 4, but
Okay.
honestly, it was like we went into it like, oh, this is gonna be simple, right? It's just like simple, and it is really simple, but it's all the external factors, like cars would come, and that like
Mm-hmm.
totally ruins the whole vibe, and just a whole bunch of, it was picking the right street. We had like
Mm-hmm.
shot a few different like versions, because we like had different locations that we were trying, and like anywhere closer into the city, that's why we kind of ended up doing it like suburbs kind of feel.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere in the city was like a nightmare logistically. you
Yeah.
know you it'd be like, okay, it's totally clear, we're ready to go, let's do it. And I would get in, I would start, and then a car would come, and it would be like, oh, really? Yeah.
I was
So
like watching it,
it
and
was fun.
no, it looked fun, and I was watching it, and I was like, I know my dumbass would just like fuck up a pedal stroke and just end up on the
Right.
ground.
That's
And I was like, if
that's
this
even
was
what
me,
I was
like,
thinking too.
like
I was
10 different takes alone for myself.
right. Like I was trying to keep it like chill too, like not go too hard, because then I have your luck, the same sort of thing, would happen. I'd screw up the handlebars or fall or something. That would probably make for a good video though. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
only 3 or 4 takes.
that's awesome. And you also have another video for the Dream, and I just want to say your visuals are great. Do
Oh,
you work
thanks.
with a specific team, or do you kind of brainstorm and just outsource for that?
Yeah, I work with my buddy Peter DiStefano. He's also from my hometown, which is Hamilton. It's like, I don't know, 60 minutes outside of Toronto.
Hmm.
And we've worked together in the past with my band as well, and we've always worked meshed together really well. And he kind of gets the vision, and I like the way he works, and like you said, his visuals are amazing. So I find myself keep going back to that, and especially like bands will they'll try and switch it up and
Hmm.
find someone that's more money, or it's more expensive, so it's going to be better, and then they find out it's not the best experience. So I've
Hmm.
found if it works, it works. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
go back
And
to that person. It's hard to find too.
right, and there's so many people these days that just pick up a camera and they're like, I can do anything. Like, let me convince anybody
Yeah.
to throw money at me.
Oh yeah.
And I like have a background in production, and
Nice.
every time I listen to a new artist, like I look if they have visuals, because like that's where my like bread and butter is like that's like I
Right.
care a lot about those things. So I was like very excited to see your videos for both tracks. And so going back to No Feelings, you had it mixed by Jack and then mastered by Dan Weston, and both of those guys have a great resume. How was it
Yeah.
working with them? And then is there anybody else you'd love to work with in the future in that regard?
It was amazing to work with them. I kind of just blindly shot out to Jack and just said like, "Hey, like I have these songs if you're interested in mixing." And going into it, I was like, he's probably not gonna want to pick up a brand new artist that doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
that much of a following. But he was super down. He really liked the songs, and like he was really passionate about it. And like I was saying before, like it's really important to find those people.
Mm-hmm.
um and it just seemed like happenstance, so I ran with it, and the product is great. And Dan Weston I've worked with in the past, so it was just nice to kind of reconnect with him. um and who would I like to work with in the future? Oh, so many.
I know it's a loaded question.
kenny Kenny Beats, anybody like that I've been looking up to, like
Mm-hmm.
even my band got to work with Matt Squire. I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did like a whole bunch of stuff that I was really into, like in the past, like the Maine and
Mm-hmm.
Under Oath and a whole bunch of stuff. So
I
I
think
was
he's
like,
located in Maryland, actually.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of know, your area a little bit. It's
Mm-hmm.
not really DC. It's Beltsville,
Yeah.
which if you're familiar,
My parents grew up there,
going
so
there. Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
Going there as like a Canadian was pretty funny. Like had no idea the area. It's kind of like suburby a little bit.
Very
Um,
suburban.
it's very funny stories for sure. We stuck we s- we definitely stuck out like sore thumbs for some reason. I don't know why. Um, anyway, yeah, no, definitely a producer I would like to work with. Is like Kenny Beats. I
Mm-hmm.
really I really like his style. I don't know. That is a loaded question. There's too many.
Yeah, there's so many, and I've always said that if I ever were to go into music, which I will not because I have no musical ability, but I would be on every phone call trying to get Jack Antonoff on a
Oh
single
yeah.
single track, a
Right.
single track.
Right. Yeah, that's a good pick. He's got a very like his style is like how he is. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like he's very
Mm-hmm.
crafty, and that's like
Yes,
his production style. It's very yeah. I agree. I'd pick Jack Antonoff any day.
at any day. Literally, I could sneeze and I'd be like, "Please just produce a
Record
song."
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I also read somewhere that you would love to do film score composition, which is
Yeah.
insane. And
I'm
I want
super
to
into
hear why and
that.
all about this.
um I've done a couple in the past, like just like
Hmm.
short films for a buddy that was going to UCLA and he needed like a
Hmm.
thesis. So I've done a couple and I've really enjoyed it. And I don't know. I have Masterclass and Danny Elfman is
Hmm.
like he's like a huge soundtrack sort of guy, and just seeing it, it's just very it's different than writing a song or writing something like a pop song. It's just
Hmm.
it's so different, like capturing like an emotion on the screen. As you know, you said you're in production. It's just a whole different thing that I'd like to get into maybe sometime in the
Yeah.
future. It's just a whole different creative outlet, but it's the same thing at the same time. And I've always been into that. Like I've always been the kid like watching the movie and being like, "Oh, this soundtrack," and people go like, "I didn't even hear it,"
Like, what are you listening to?
you
And
know?
you're like, if you
Yeah.
just
So
like turn it up a little bit louder.
just yeah. Didn't you hear that horn? No. Yeah. Like I've always had an interest in it. Um. So yeah, it's something I'd like to get into in the future
That's
for sure.
awesome. I listen. I got some friends out in LA making some shorts. If you wanna connect with them,
Yeah.
if you wanna
Send them over.
give it some more.
That's the tough thing
um,
breaking into that. So
yeah, I bet.
you know,
And
hey,
you
let
said
me
Danny
score your
Elfman.
movie. Let me score your
You
movie. I've never done it.
you said Danny Elfman, and you were like, oh, he just does it. I'm like, he is the soundtrack guy.
I know.
He's like the.
Interestingly enough, though, I think
Mhm.
like Tim Burton was like adamant on him doing a score, and he hadn't ever done one like for a movie,
Really?
and I think that was his first one of his firsts
Oh
with
wait,
Tim
I
Burton.
remember seeing this in a documentary somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think that
So you never
yeah, that
know.
makes
Like
sense.
even though I've never done one, you never know. Someone can Tim Burt Tim Burton can approach me. Um, yeah,
But yeah, let me make some calls. Let me call my boy Tim.
yeah. I'd love that. Send them over.
So you have two tracks currently, and I can
Yep.
only imagine you have some stuff up the pipeline. So can you talk about what we are looking forward to, can look forward to in the future?
More tunes. Definitely
Okay, that's a
working
great start.
towards. I thought you'd like that. Um, definitely like I'd like to have like a packaged EP
Hmm.
of sorts. But definitely I'm planning on just continuing the single process, growing, Quiet Love, and, still trying to find who I am as an artist and my sound. And I think with talks and just like, friendly advice, the best way to do it is just to release things, and not be afraid to, try something new. And, that's kind of how you find who you are, and, who you are as an artist and what your sound is. So I think that's really what I'm working on and working towards. I'd like to do some shows.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Once it's safe. And find out who I am in that process as well too. This is all brand new for me, so I'm excited. But definitely more music. EP, hopefully in the fall or early 22. That's weird to say.
That is really weird. You said that. I was like,
early 22. 2022.
Well, I'm excited. I'm ready to hear some more stuff from you. I really dig the tracks. And I'm glad you found me, because I did not find your music, and I'm very glad you found me, because I really do dig what you're doing, and I can't wait to follow along. Do you want to play a quick game of quick picks where I give you a very specific scenario, you tell me what song comes to your head?
Let's do it.
All right.
Stoked.
So I've already picked mine, fair warning. So I have an advantage.
So you get the. I see.
So okay. I do quick pick them when I'm typing them out, but putting me on the spot right now, I'd be here for 3 hours.
Right.
So you are in the studio. Me too. Yeah. And you're not having the best day, and you need a really good pick me up. For the whole group of whoever's in the studio with you, what song are you picking? I picked, for obvious reasons, Mr. Brightside.
Ooh. I don't know why. I don't even like this song, but it's a pick-me-up. Happy by Pharrell. I mean, that's like, it's a pick-me-up. It's not that I don't like it. It's just too happy. Do you have those songs where it's like, I don't know, it's too much?
It's too much for me.
But that's definitely
it's my emo roots showing.
It's uplifting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because I'm happy. Yeah, I think that's what it is, to be honest.
Yeah. It's funny because there's like a delay on you right now, so like I'm seeing you talk, and then it's no worries, but and then I heard you singing Happy. I was like, it all makes sense.
Is it better now? Is it better now? Here, let me.
It is. It actually is. Okay.
My bad.
So it was just funny because it was like, what's happening, and then I heard the Happy you singing.
Oh,
it was funny.
This is the thing with online interviews sometimes. The technology.
I know.
And you look like a
just like a laggy
when it freezes. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so the next one is you are in a foreign country on a very touristy tour bus. You're going through all the sites. They find out you're very big into music, and they want you to DJ. So what is the song you're picking first? I immediately go Michael Jackson, anything, because I feel like that is a great, solid starter place.
Good choice. Anything Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna pick Jump Around. I don't know who the artist is. Do you know that song?
Oh god. I do. I don't know who sings it.
I don't know the artist, but we all know the song, like,
yes.
Jump around.
Yeah,
definitely,
down.
90s hip hop, that sort of stuff. I definitely am into that. Sorry.
Okay.
It's an alarm. I don't know why I have an alarm for 12:40 p.m.
I mean, I'm glad you're awake. Glad it woke you up in time.
I'm awake already, so yeah, Amazing. Jump Around's my choice.
That's a good one.
Hip-hop.
And then the last one is you are on the way home from a very bad date. You're driving the person in the car and you have to cut the silence. What song are you picking? I, because of the scenario, pick Ain't Shit by Doja Cat.
Ain't Shit, but yes. Doja
Yep.
Cat's new album's dope.
It's so good, yeah.
I'm gonna pick Hotel California because it's 11 minutes, so it's like
You're choosing misery.
Yes, but it's also like it's like I don't know, some atmosphere in the background because whenever it's awkward, it's nice to have, you know, something to fill the silence. So at least that's 11 minutes of like guaranteed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
wow. Well, thanks for playing. I think it's so funny to hear people's choices for these. I do have one final question. Musicians have the ability and the platforms to leave mark on the world, whether bigger or smaller. What mark do you want to make as a musician?
I think the biggest compliment is like having someone remember the words that you wrote. Simply put, I mean, having someone go like, oh, that was stuck in my head all day or whatever, that's like a way bigger compliment to me than, you know, the normal, you know. I definitely want to be just, I don't know, convey a feeling and that be reciprocated and remembered. Just like all the artists that I'm into, like, you know, like Danger Summer, for example, when I was a kid, like he would have certain lyrics that just made days better and made, you know, life better. And like, I don't know, I think that's the biggest compliment in music. And I think that's what keeps bringing people back to just the emotions. And I don't know, music's always there for all of us. So I think that's very cool that I get to do that in a way. And, you know, to have someone go like, oh yeah, like I've had your song stuck in my head since you released it. That's like, that's exactly what I set out to do. So I think that's like, that's my biggest thing for sure. As many people as possible. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think you definitely can do that if you haven't already, because your songs are quite catchy and very enjoyable. And I can't wait to hear more. I really appreciate you coming on the show today, and thank you. QUIETLOVE.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you in a few years, and it's going to be like a huge success. I love this.
Oh.
I found you. Remember, I'm a fan of you. No, keep doing it. I appreciate you for having me.